start off with the USMNT taking on New Zealand in the men's Olympic soccer preview. Um, it's a big game for the USMNT, the US men's Olympic soccer team. Huge game in the fact that, you start off your tournament with a loss, a 3-0 loss, so goal differential is not really there to protect you at this point now. -3 goal differential. You put yourself in a position now with New Zealand winning. You basically got to win those final 2 games because, if you were to get 4 points instead of 6, then you're looking at a potential of relying on goal differential to get you past, which, maybe you could still manage if you're able to win the game that you win. More likely than not against Guinea by a high margin that kind of makes up for the 3-0 defeat. But that's a lot to ask. And what the U.S. knows is, if the U.S. wins these next 2 games, chances are more than likely than not they'll finish second place because, that's exactly where the U.S. want to put themselves in. They don't want to put themselves in a position where they need to rely on some help or goal differential or any of that. They want to be able to control their own destiny. So a win here is ultra important. And look, the performance was really good against France. Really good. Despite the 3-0 victory for France, it wasn't a 3-0 game. If you understand what I'm trying to say, the U.S. had their opportunities in the game. They were bound. They reacted to conceding that goal to Lacazette. Good in the next few minutes, they created a lot of great opportunities, but you don't take advantage of your opportunities, and then you have Michael Olise on the other side that will only need one opportunity, and he'll put it away. And then from then on, the game got away from them. You're chasing the game, you're down 2-0. But the U.S. played really good. The U.S. had more than double the amount of expected goals that France was able to get. So it was clear, U.S., they're not here to run away. They got players in the team that can play ball. Now, for the U.S., if they want to make a run in this and get out of this group stages, the overage players need to perform like overage players. Now, Walker Zimmerman, I thought, I thought he was decent in the game. Miles Robinson, mistake on a set piece, concedes a goal. Biggest one, Giorgio Mihailovic. He was ultra garbage the whole game. He was weighing down the midfield. He was one of the worst players in terms of, besides Schulte, in terms of outfield players, he was the worst player on the pitch. His touch was off. He wasn't creating nothing. When he had an opportunity to go forward, more than times he was going sideways and backwards. He was not a chain in that midfield. He was a weakness. And for an overage player to be, when you watch the game and you notice that the overage player is the weakness, it's just not good enough. It is such a waste. There was plenty of age-eligible players that are much better at that position than Giorgio Mihailovic would have been. But the overage players, and then there's way better overage players that we could have chose from. Way better overage players that we could have chosen. That would have been a better option than Giorgio Mihailovic. He completely stunk it up. And it's disappointing because you want to put yourself, you don't want to waste an overage player, right? But, there's players on that bench that could do a better job than him. I'm sure of it, There has to be a player on that bench. I'm not well aware of the quality that there is on the bench, but there has to be a player that's, at least he can be some sort of a connector. I mean, Giorgio Mihailovic, he was a loose block in the chain in that midfield, Tanner Tessman, Gianluca Busio, they did really good holding it on, and they had that imposter in front of them, the overage player, the one that's supposed to be the man carrying the midfield, the leader in that midfield. He was fraudulent. So the overage players have to step up. I think Miles Robinson is better than what we saw yesterday. I think he's better, and I think against underage players, he'll come back and him and Walker Zimmerman will be good enough partnership. I don't know if Giorgio Mihailovic, I just think that's his quality. I don't think he's at this level at this point. He's not good enough to play at this sort of level. And it's disappointing that's what we wasted an overage player on. I think Duncan Maguire, I think we need to see him more. There was he was a lot more deeper just by nature of how France are able to play. He needs to be a little bit more deeper in this game. But in this New Zealand game, he needs to be more attacking. He needs to be the number 9. We need to take advantage of his pace going in behind to, be some sort of an outlet ball for the US, because, he was mostly doing the dirty work in that France game, and we need more of an outlet. And I think he can provide a slither of that. But the main thing that the US will, the US the main thing that US the main thing that the US need to perform is the mentality, the bounce back, the mentality. Because here's the issue: the mentality is the mentality of losing 3-0. They have to put that behind them quickly, and they need to focus only on this game. How they responded to that France game will show in this New Zealand game and the way that they perform, because losing 3-0 is psychologically a big blow. But in these sort of games, you only have 3 days till the next game. It's the psychological break and how fast you can get over it, how fast you can get on to the next point, because this is it. This is make or break for a U.S. Olympic team, really. Losing that opening game, okay, it's disappointing, but it's expected. But now you're going up against opposition that you're expected to beat, and you're expected to beat in comfortable, not comfortable fashion, but they're just more quality. I watched New Zealand play. They're organized, but they don't have much quality going forward, and they're very beatable. The quality is just not there. They're organized, and they had more structure than Guinea. Guinea were just a little bit, even though they had pace and transition and ability, they were a little bit all over the place. They weren't real organized. New Zealand is organized. They're set up. They were more clinical than Guinea, and they got the job done. Just a little bit of that more quality allowed them to get the job done. Now the U.S., I'm expecting the U.S. to have a lot of the ball, to control the majority of the game, and New Zealand to be comfortable being a little bit on the back foot. Keep in mind, the mentality is different. New Zealand is entering this game thinking a point is more likely good enough, knowing what the U.S. did against France, losing 3-0. They're in the point where they're thinking, okay, a point, we'll be fine with the point. 4 points entering the final game with the U.S. only on 1 point can put ourselves in they put themselves in a good position, because then it just becomes a goal differential battle. Because if New Zealand get a point in that France game, they're moving on, because the U.S. only has 1 point and can maximum get 4 points. And if New Zealand get a point, now even if New Zealand loses that France game, they put themselves in a position, okay, just don't lose, as long as keeping track of the goal differential, don't let the U.S. make up the goal differential, and they'll still go through. So it's a must-win for the U.S., and the U.S. need to come out all guns blazing, and they really need to go and attack this game and control possession and get runners into the box and take advantage of set pieces and get midfield runners lay into the box. Get Duncan McGuire to play with his pace in behind. I need Paredes to have more of an active role in this game. I think he was, quite frankly, he was not good enough. He wasn't at his level. I thought Aronson, he was a little lively, a little bit in dangerous areas, but sometimes I was questioning what he was trying to do. There was one play in the first half that he gets the ball on the left-hand side. He's able to break past the defender, and he decides to blast it near post when it's clearly that should be a open up your hips and curl it into the back post. That's the sort of shot that you're supposed to be taking there. And then he had another opportunity where he had runners going in behind, and instead of playing in a cute little ball to one of the runners, he decides to try to blast it full power, and it ends up ricocheting off of a French defender. The decision making has to be better, but overall, you do question how the U.S. can get the goals, because I don't think Duncan McGuire is the guy. Now, what I saw, from Griffin Yao, I thought he was really good. Near the end of the game, he had that absolute amazing first touch, was able to get past the defender. I think they whistled a foul, but then he had that amazing finish. Maybe Griffin Yao could be the answer for the USMNT. Something a little bit different. He's a good touch, good finish, lively in a little bit dangerous areas. Maybe that's the sort of spark that they need, because I don't know Duncan McGuire. But Duncan McGuire does give you work rate and pace in behind. That's something I was impressed with, his pace in that France game. He's not slow. You know, you look at him generally, you think he has like that big nature to him. You think he's a little bit slower, but he's on the faster side of it. But yeah, Kevin Bredes needs to take more foot in the game. Needs to show the quality he has, because he has quality. Better decision making from Aronson, and just the mentality needs to switch. Then Busio and Tessman, the way that they controlled the game against France and how well they played against France, if they played to the level against New Zealand, I really think we will dominate possession and we have majority of the ball. It's just whether or not we can take advantage, whether or not we can take advantage of the opportunities of, you know, when we get the ball. That's what that's what it comes down to. Can we take advantage when we get the ball? Can we get a goal? Can we get a goal? Because, you know, with a lot of U.S. teams, that's the main thing. That's the main concern. Do they have the quality to score the goals? Is there quality in the team to get the goal? You know? And I think this is a type of game that there will be pressure on the USMNT, especially later on if they can't get the goal. I think once the U.S. can find an opportunity to get a goal, and look, it doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes, you know, you could, sometimes you can take advantage of a set piece, something of that nature. What's wrong with that? You could take advantage of a set piece or something like that. It doesn't have to be you don't have to pass the ball into the goal, score tiki-taka, pass the ball into the goal, or have a 60-yard belter. Sometimes you can take advantage of a set piece or get a lucky ricochet, and that can be something that breaks the window and really opens it up. Because I think if the U.S. can get an early goal, I think the confidence starts bringing in this team. I think we see more general play. I think we see players trying stuff that they won't be trying because there'll be more confidence there. So yeah, I'm really interested to see how this game goes, and obviously I can't put into words how big of a game this is. It's a huge game for the U.S. men's national team Olympic hope chances to get out of the group stages, because, you know, it's a must win.